Welcome to Science Store online classes.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, good morning. Welcome to Maths online class. I am Danya here in Christ King from last 6 years for a mathematics subject. Now I am taking chapter number 6, that is linear inequalities for your class. Okay. In this chapter you will study about inequalities, different types of inequalities, and how to solve linear inequalities in one variable and two variables graphically. The study of these inequalities, that is very useful in the field of science, mathematics, statistics, economics, psychology, and optimization problems, etc., etc. Okay. And inequality means what? Suppose you have an equation of equation 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. You have a left side 2x plus 3, that is equal to right side 0. If you have left side is equal to right side, if you have expression like this, if left side and right hand side, left hand side is written in short as LHS, left hand side, RHS means right hand side. Okay, if LHS equal to RHS, then that form equation. Okay, if you connect two expressions by the symbol equal to, that form equation. Okay, but if you remove that equal to symbol by these symbols like this, okay, these symbols are called inequality symbols, and this symbol is called less than symbol. Okay, this is a less than symbol, and in this symbol lesser side of the symbol is this one, and greater side of the symbol is this side. Okay, and this symbol is greater than symbol, and this symbol is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to symbol, and this is a greater than or equal to symbol. Okay. So, if in a equation 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, if you remove that equal to symbol, by less than symbol or greater than symbol or less than or equal to symbol or greater than or equal to symbol, then that form an expression, that expression is called inequality. See, 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. I will remove that equal to symbol by less than symbol. So, then that becomes what? 2x plus 3 less than 0. Or if you remove that equal to symbol by this symbol, then that becomes like this. And if you remove that equal to symbol by less than or equal to, then you will get inequality like this. If you remove that equal to symbol by greater than or equal to, then you will get 2x plus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, these type of expressions are called inequalities. So what you can see in the inequality expression, you have a symbols less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Okay, so expressions containing these symbols are called inequalities. For example, sometimes you may have numbers. Suppose you have 2 and 10. Then which symbol we are using to relate these two numbers? We know that 2 is less than 10. So we are using less than symbol here. Suppose you have 100 and 3, then which symbol we can use in between this? We can use a greater symbol, because we know that 100 is greater than 3. Okay. So like this, two numbers or two algebraic expressions which are connected by the symbol less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, that form one expression. That expression is called inequalities. Okay. So inequality means what? Inequality means in that two numbers or two algebraic expressions will be connected or related by one of the symbols less than, greater than, or less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Okay, so two numbers or two algebraic expressions related or connected by the symbol this one less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, that form an inequality. So in a simple words, we can say like this: any expression which contains these symbols less than, greater than, or less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, that expressions are called inequalities. Okay, and next you have numerical inequalities. Numerical inequalities means what? Numerical inequalities. In that numerical inequalities, you have only numbers. Okay, for example, 2 is less than 10 or minus 10 is greater than minus 10 is greater than minus 20, like that. Okay, like these are inequalities, or 0 is less than 100. Like that, inequalities are called numerical inequalities. So what you can see in these numerical inequalities, in the name itself you have numerical inequalities, means you have only numbers. Okay, 2 and 10, minus 10, minus 20, 0, 100, you have only numbers. So if you have only numbers in the inequalities, that inequalities are called numerical inequalities. Next you have literal inequalities. Literal inequalities. Literal inequalities means in that inequalities you have numbers and variables in a mixed form. Okay, for example, x that is greater than or equal to 2, or x is less than or equal to minus 2, or x is less than 2, or x is greater than 2, or like this 2x minus 8 that is greater than 0, like that. You have numbers and variables in that inequalities. Here a variable and a number is there, variable and number, any variable may be there. Here I used x, you can write a variable y, z, like that, etc. Okay, so if you have a variable and numbers in the inequalities, then that inequalities are called linear inequalities. Okay. Next you have linear inequalities in one variable, linear inequalities in two variables, and quadratic inequalities in one variable. Okay, you know that linear equation in one variable. Okay, these are explanations which I give under this rough work, no need to write in a notes. Okay, just for explanation purpose I will write something here under rough side. You know that linear equation in one variable will be in which form? Ax plus b is equal to 0. Ax plus b is equal to 0. In that a and b, they are real numbers, and a is not equal to 0. Why a is not equal to 0? If a is a 0, then this term will not be there, right? Then you have b is equal to 0, then that will not be equation in one variable. Okay, it will be number, one number is equal to 0, that like that you have. Okay, for that reason, since that is a linear equation in one variable, coefficient of that variable, that is a, should not be 0. Okay, so this is the standard form of a linear equation in one variable. If you remove this equal to symbol by less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to symbol, then what you have? Then you have linear inequalities in one variable. Why it is a linear? Linear means the highest power of x is a 1. Highest power of variable x is 1. See here in this variable x and highest power of that is 1. So this is a linear and that is in one variable. Here you can see only one variable x. So this is a linear equation in one variable, and if you remove that equal to symbol by less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, then what you have? You have linear inequalities in one variable, that is x, and in the side you have to write here a, b, c, they are they are real numbers with the a not equal to 0. That is a means what? Coefficient of that variable, coefficient of x that should be not equal to 0. Okay, and next if you want example for this, for example suppose you have 8x minus 5 is equal to 0. That is a linear equation. Okay, linear equation. If you remove that equal to symbol by less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, then you have what? You have linear inequalities in one variable. This inequality you can write in this way also. 8x less than 5. Okay, minus 5 is taken to right side like that. Okay, so this is one example for a linear inequality in one variable. Next you have linear inequalities in two variables. You know linear equation in two variables, that will be in the standard form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Here a, b, c, they are what? They are real numbers, and a and b not equal to 0. A not equal to 0, b not equal to 0. If any one is 0, then that for example suppose a is a 0, then that will not be a linear equation in two variables. That will be a linear equation in one variable. And if b is 0, then this term will not be there. You have linear equation in one variable. So for that reason both a and b should be not equal to 0. So then only you have linear equation in two variables x and y. Okay, coefficient of x and y should be not equal to 0, and this is a linear equation in two variables x and y. Same type if you remove that equal to symbol by the inequality symbols less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, what you have? You have linear inequalities in the two variables. Linear, why it is linear? Because highest power of x and y, that is 1, so it is linear. In the two variables, why it is in the two variables? You can see in these inequalities you have only two variables x and y. Okay, for example like this 2x plus 5y plus 6 that is less than 0 or greater than 0 or less than or equal to 0 or greater than or equal to 0. You can take any real numbers in place of a, b and c, but a and b should be not equal to 0. That you have to keep in mind. Okay, so that is about linear inequalities in two variables. And next you have quadratic inequalities. Okay, quadratic inequalities in one variable. You know that standard form of quadratic equation in one variable is in the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Here also a, b, c are real numbers, and a is not equal to 0. Okay, if a is a 0, then that will not be a quadratic equation, it will be a linear equation. So for that reason highest power of x is what? 2, that coefficient of that should be not equal to 0. So this is the linear equation in one variable x. Okay, and if you remove this equal to symbol, if you remove that equal to symbol by less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, then you have what? You have quadratic inequalities in one variable. Why quadratic? Quadratic means the highest power of variable is 2. You can see highest power of variable x is 2. So this is the quadratic, and in one variable, you can see only one variable is there in this in these inequalities. So these are quadratic inequalities in one variable standard forms. Okay, thank you. Next you have strict inequalities and slack inequalities. Okay, here I wrote actually you already wrote this under linear inequalities in one variable. These linear inequalities, these first two lines in linear inequalities in one variable you wrote, and these you wrote these two, third and fourth. They are in linear inequalities in two variables, and these inequalities, that is fifth and sixth, that inequalities they are in quadratic inequalities in in one variable. You already wrote. Okay, no need to write that again. You just give a number for all that inequalities, and you can write that here. Okay, if you give one now, see, you take this as a inequality 1, 2, and this you give 3, this one you give as a 4, this as a 5, this as a 6, and this one 7, 8, and this 9, 10, then 11 and 12. Okay, give a number for that inequalities 1, 2, 3, 4. That inequalities you wrote under linear inequalities in one variable. 5, 6, 7, 8, that inequalities you wrote under linear inequalities in two variables, and 9, 10, 11, 12, that inequalities you wrote in which quadratic inequalities in one variable. Okay, and in that inequalities, see these inequalities 1, 2, 5, 6, 9 and 10, that inequalities are called strict inequalities. Why they are strict inequalities? Because strict symbols they are there in that inequalities. Okay, strict symbols are strictly less than symbol and strictly greater than symbols. If they are used in the inequalities, then that inequalities are called strict inequalities. Okay, so strict inequalities means they are inequalities containing the symbols less than or greater than. Strict symbols less than, strictly less than or strictly greater than symbols are called strict inequalities. For example, we take that examples only. In that examples 1, 2, 5, 6, 9 and 10, that inequalities, in that inequalities you can see strict symbols, strictly less than here. Okay, strictly less than symbols and strictly greater than symbols are used in these inequalities. So these inequalities are strict inequalities. And slack inequalities. Slack inequalities means what? If inequalities containing these symbols less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, that inequalities are called what? Slack inequalities. In above examples 3, 4, 7, 8, 11 and 12. In these inequalities you can see slack inequality symbols, that is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Here less than or equal to is there in these inequalities. Here you have greater than or equal to symbols. Okay, so if slack inequality symbols are there in the inequalities, that are slack inequalities. If strict inequality symbols are there in the inequalities, then that are strict inequalities. Okay, thank you. Next, to solve inequalities, you ought to know some important points. Okay, that points I give as note 1, 2 and 3. And note 1, what you have in that note 1? If we add or subtract same number on both sides of inequality, then the sign of the inequality remains same. Okay, to understand this note 1, I will take some examples. You know that 10 is less than 20, right? 10 is less than 20. I taken one inequality. Now we add a same number on both side of this inequality. I will add a plus 2. Okay, I'll add 2 on both sides of this inequality. Same number you have to add on both sides of inequality. Now I taken 2. You have to add a 2 on both sides of this inequality. So then what you will get 10 plus 2. What is 10 plus 2? That is 12, and 20 plus 2. 20 plus 2 is what? That is 22. And which inequality symbol we can use here? 12 and 22. 12 is less than 22, right? So we have to use the less than symbol. Now you see sign of the inequality before adding 2, it is a less than, and sign of the inequality after adding 2 also less than. So that is about note 1. If you add same number on both side of inequality, then the sign of the inequality remains same. Before adding it is means the sign of the inequality is less than, and after adding 2 also sign of the inequality is less than, right? So that is when you add a same number on both side of the inequality. Same happens if you subtract the same number from both side of inequality also. Okay, I'll take one more example. 30 is greater than 10. If you take this inequality, now we subtract the same number from both side of this inequality. Okay, we subtract we subtract 3 from both side of this inequality. If you subtract 3 from 30, what you will get? 30 minus 3, you will get 27, right? And 10 minus 3, subtract 3 from 10, what you will get? 10 minus 3, that is 7. And in these two numbers 27 is greater, right? So which symbol we can use here? Greater symbol, because 27 is greater. So to that side you have to use the greater side of the symbol. So greater than symbol. And you just see before subtracting sign of the inequality is greater than. After subtracting 3 also sign of the inequality is the same, greater than. Okay. So if you subtract same number from both sides of inequality, then also sign of the inequality that remains the same. If it is greater than, that will be greater than only after subtracting. If it is less than, that will be less than. If it is greater than or equal to, that will be greater than or equal to. If it is less than or equal to, after subtracting also it is greater than or equal to. Okay. So this is about note 1. If you add or subtract same number on both sides of inequality, then sign of the inequality that remains the same. Okay, that remains the same means if it is less than before subtracting or before adding, then after adding or subtracting also it will be less than only. If it is less than, less than. If it is less than or equal to, that will be less than or equal to. If it is greater than or equal to, that will be greater than or equal to. If it is greater than, then after subtracting or adding, that will be greater than sign. Okay, so that is note 1. Next note 2. If we multiply or divide, by the same positive, here you have to concentrate on this positive, by the same positive number on both sides of inequality, then the sign of the inequality remains the same. If you multiply or divide by the same positive number, then also sign of the inequality remains the same. I'll take the same examples. 10 is less than 20. Okay. Now we multiply same positive number. You have to see this one. Okay. Same positive number. If I take into 2, if I multiply 2 on both side of this inequality, 2 is a positive number, right? Now we multiply this positive number on both side of this inequality. So then what you will get? 10 into 2, that is 20. Okay, and 2 into 20, that is 40. Which symbol we can use in between these two? Less than symbol, right? 20 is less than 40. Now you see before and after. Before multiplying 2, it is less than. After adding 2 also sign of the inequality less than. So if you multiply same positive number on both side of inequality, then sign of the inequality remains the same. Okay, this is for a multiplication. Same happens for a division by a positive number also. If I take that same example, 30 is greater than 10. Now we divide this by same positive number. I will take 5 to divide on both side, okay, of this inequality. Now 30 by 5. 30 by 5 is what? 30 by 5 is 6. 10 by 5, that is 2, right? 30 by 5, you have to divide both side of this inequality by 5. 30 by 5, that gives you 6, and 10 by 5, that gives you 2. And which is greater? 6 is greater, right? So which symbol we can use here? Greater symbol. So if you divide by a same positive number on both side of any inequality, then also sign of the inequality remains same. Here we taken a greater than inequality, okay, greater inequality containing greater symbol. So before dividing by 5 it is greater than, and after dividing by 5 also it is greater than. So sign of the inequality that remains as it is. So that is about note 2. If you multiply or divide by the same positive, okay, you have to keep this in mind. You have to divide or you have to multiply by the same positive number, then the sign of the inequality that remains same. Okay, if it is less than, that will be less than after multiplying or dividing by a positive number. If it is greater than, after that also it is greater than. If it is less than or equal to, after that will be greater than or equal to. If it is less than or equal to, that will be less than or equal to after multiplying or dividing by a same positive number. So that is the note 2. Next note 3. What you have in note 3? If we multiply or divide by the same negative number on both sides of the inequality, then the sign of the inequality is reversed. Okay, so when the sign of the inequality is reversed, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, then sign of the inequality reversed. Reversed means if it is less than, after doing like that, that will be greater than. If it is greater than, after doing like that, that will be less than. If it is less than or equal to, after that operation, that will be greater than or equal to. If it is greater than or equal to, before doing that operation, after doing that operation, that will be less than or equal to. So sign of the inequality will be reversed if you multiply or divide by the same negative number on both sides of inequality. I will show you these by some examples. Okay, I will take the same inequalities. 10 is less than 20. 10 is less than 20. And now for this we multiply by a same negative number. Okay, I will take minus 2. Okay, how to multiply by now minus 2. Now what we are doing here? We are multiplying by a negative number minus 2. 10 into minus 2 is what? 10 into minus 2 is minus 20, and 20 into minus 2 is what? That is minus 40. And which is smaller, which is greater? Now both are negative numbers. How to see which is smaller and which is bigger number? On the number line, which number comes first from the left side? From the left side, which number you will get first? That will be the smaller number, and next which number you will get? That will be the bigger number. Okay, so on the number line, which number comes among these two? Minus 40, right? Suppose minus 40 is here and minus 20 is here. From the left side, if you move from the left side to right side, which number you will get first? That will be the smaller number. So minus 40 is a smaller number, and minus 20 is a larger number than that. Okay, so which symbol you have to use? You have to use this symbol. Okay, because minus 40 is smaller, so to that side, smaller side of the symbol should be there. So now you see sign of the inequality. Before doing this operation it is less than, after doing this operation it is a greater than. Symbol, sign of the inequality, that is reversed. Less than becomes a greater than here after doing this operation, means after multiplying by a negative number, sign of the inequality that is reversed here. Okay, so that is the note 3. Same thing happens if you divide by a negative number also. Suppose I take that same inequality, 30 is greater than 10. Now I will divide both side of this inequality by a negative number minus 5. Okay, what we are doing now? We are doing this operation. We are dividing these inequality by a negative number minus 5. Now 30 by minus 5. What is 30 by minus 5? 30 by minus 5 is a minus 6, and 10 dividing by minus 5. 10 dividing by minus 5, that is what? That is minus 2. On the number line, which number comes first? Which number comes first? That will be the smaller, and which comes next? That will be the larger than that. Okay. So on the number line, which number you have first? Suppose this is a rough. Suppose here you have minus 6 and here you have minus 2. On the number line, which number you will get first? If you move from the left side to right side, you will get minus 6 first, right? So minus 6, that will be the smaller number than minus 2, because minus 2 comes to the right side of minus 6. Okay, so this is the symbol, and you just see this is before and this is after. All these first lines are before doing that operation, and second lines are after doing that operation. There we multiplied by a positive number, here we multiplied and divide by the same negative number. Okay, and here what we done? Here we divided by the negative number minus 5 on both side of this inequality. Before doing this operation, sign of the inequality is what? Greater than. After doing this operation, sign of the inequality is less than. Greater than becomes your less than. So sign of the inequality is reversed. Okay, so if you divide or multiply by the same negative number on both side of inequality, then what happens? Then sign of the inequality is reversed. Okay, these are things you have to keep in your mind while solving the inequalities. Okay, thank you. You know how to solve a equation. For example, suppose you have a equation of 3x minus 6 that is equal to 9. Then how you solve this equation to get the value of x? You will shift minus 6. Always while solving equation you will do this, right? Plus you will shift another side as minus, minus another side you will shift as a plus, and by some number another side you will shift as a into, and into some number another side you will shift another side as a by that number, right? So here minus is there, minus 6, that we are shifting another side as a plus number. 3x is equal to 9, minus 6 another side as a plus 6. Actually we are doing like this, plus 6, so we are adding 6 on both sides, so then minus 6 plus 6 that cancels here, and plus 6 comes here. Okay, so 9 plus 6 that is what? That is 15, and left side you have 3x. Now here with the x you have into some number, and another side we are shifting as by that number. Okay, x is equal to 15 dividing by 3, that is equal to what? 5. Like this you are solving equation. Same thing we are doing in the case of inequalities also, but while solving the inequalities you have to be careful in these two situations. Okay, in these two situations means if you are shifting by some negative number or into some negative number from one side to another side, then you have to reverse the sign of the inequality. Okay, sign of the inequality that will remain same if you shift plus the number another side as minus, minus number another side as plus, or by some positive number another side as into that positive number, or into some positive number another side as by that positive number. So inequality sign that will remain as it is if you shift like these numbers, plus some number another side as minus, minus as plus, and positive number if you are shifting by positive number another side as into positive another side as by positive number. But you have to reverse the sign of the inequality if you have these two situations. That is, if you divide, if you are shifting by some negative number another side, then you have to reverse that symbol. Okay, you are shifting by number another side as into, that same thing we are doing here also, but only thing you have to do is you have to reverse the sign of the inequality. Okay, same thing here also. If you have into negative number, and if you are shifting that to another side, then while shifting into negative number another side as by negative number, you have to reverse the sign of the inequality. For example, if I take like this, 3x minus 6 is equal to 9. Suppose you have, this is a equation. Suppose I take minus 3x minus 6, that is less than or equal to 9. Then how to solve this inequality? How we are simplifying in the case of equation, same thing you have to do here also, but in that situations, highlighted situations, you have to be careful. That is, if you are shifting into some negative number, or if you are shifting into by some positive number, then you have to be careful. Okay, you have to reverse the sign of the inequality. See here, minus 3x, to solve the inequality, always you have to keep x that on the left side of the inequality. Okay, so now minus 3x is there on the left side, so keep that on the left side, less than or equal to. After that you have 9, no, so that you have to write as it is. Minus 6, you have to shift another side as plus 6, and 9 plus 6 is what? That is 15, and here minus 3x. Just we are simplifying this right side, nothing we done here. Okay, so you have to write inequality symbol same. Now you see here, into negative number we have into minus 3. Now we are shifting another side, that another side as by that number. Okay, x another side you have 15, and we are shifting this into minus 3 another side as by 3, but inequality symbol is there, that you have to reverse here. Okay, you should not use the same symbol, you have to write greater than or equal to. Okay, you have to reverse this symbol. Why? Because we divided by the negative number on both sides of this inequality. Okay, shifting into minus 3 another side means actually we are dividing by minus 3 on both sides of this inequality. Okay, so if you divide by a negative number on both sides of inequality, then by the note 3 what we have, sign of the inequality is reversed, right? So less than or equal to, that will become what? Greater than or equal to. So that are things you have to keep in mind. You have to be careful when you divide, when you shift by some negative number or into some negative number from one side to another side. That time what you have to do, you have to reverse the sign of the inequality. Okay, thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.